Hello, hello! Pizza Pax here, and we're back with the third commander deck from Murders at Karlov Manor. This is Deadly Disguise. Disguise cards, big surprises. So let's see what's in here. Alright. As with others from this set, we have two token cards, 6 counters. Got our deck in here. Pamphlet. The envelope of good stuff. Which has our folding tuck box. The unbranded life counter. With the branded tuck box. Save costs, I guess. The collector booster sample pack, we'll be opening these in their own video. Our pamphlet with the little mystery game thing. Points to RavnicaDetectiveAgency.com. Little overview of the deck. The quick commander rules and a portrait of the face commander. On the other side, we have Cost, Eye of the Glade, which is the face commander, and their little bio, plus some ads. Okay. We'll pull in and get to the star of the show, the deck. There we go. Much better. Alright. I got another one that wasn't quite cut. That's alright. What's the name of this deck again? Deadly Disguise. Right, let's get into Deadly Disguise. So we have Cost, Eyes of the Glade. So for a hybrid red-white and a green, you get a 2/2 legendary Dryad Detective with whenever a creature you control that was turned face up this turn deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Tap, turn target face down, attacking creature you control face up. That is pretty sweet. It's the standy, thick cardboard version. It's the regular version. Now, our second commander is Toscana, the Rage Mother. 2 red, white, green for a 5/5 legendary bear. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card for each creature you control with base power and toughness 2/2. Whenever a creature you control with base power and toughness 2/2 attacks, it gains +3/+3 until end of turn. Your 2/2s become 5/5s. Alright. I have True Identity, 1 and a white enchantment. Whenever it or another permanent you control is turned face up, scry 1, then draw a card. This ability only triggers once each turn, and then disguise for a white. So you may cast it as face down for 3 mana. It's a 2/2 with ward 2. Turn it face up anytime for its disguise cost. Unexplained Absence, 3 and a white instant. For each player, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent that player controls. For each permanent exiled this way, its controller cloaks the top card of their library. Veiled Ascension, 3 and a white enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, put a flying counter on each face-down creature you control. Face-down creatures you control enter the battlefield with a flying counter on them. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may cloak the top card of your library. Nice. So that's almost like a Bitter Blossom for cloak creatures. It does cost 4. Bolt Bender, 3 and a red for 4/2 Goblin Wizard with Disguise, 1 and a red. It's turn face up, you may choose new targets for any number of other spells and or abilities. Show-Stopping Surprise, 3 red instant. Choose target creature you control, turn it face up if it's face down. Then it deals damage equal to its power to each other creature. Oh, that's pretty cool. Tessic, Judith's Hellhound, 3 and a red for 3/3. Legendary Elemental Dog with Unleash. You may have it enter the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. It can't block as long as it has a +1/+1 counter on it. Other dogs you control have Unleash. Creatures you control with counters on them have Haste. Whenever it attacks, add red for each attacking creature. That's pretty sweet. Experiment 12. 3 and a green for a 4/4 Elf Lizard Warrior. With Trample, whenever it or another creature you control is turned face up, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature equal to its power. Okay. And it's Disguise 4 and a green. Front Lifter Ooze, 1 and a green for a 2/2 Ooze with Death Touch. Whenever it or another creature you control is turned face up, create a 0/0 green Ooze creature token with Trample. The token enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of other creatures you control. Disguise 3 and a green. Panoptic Projector, 4 mana artifact. The next face-down creature spell you cast this turn costs 3 less to cast. If turning a face-down permanent face up causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So it's Panharmonicon for flip effects. Ransom Note, 1 mana artifact Clue. When it enters the battlefield, surveil 1. 2, sacrifice it, choose 1. Cloak the top card of your library, go to target creature, or draw a card. Ugin's Mastery, 4 mana enchantment. Whenever you cast a colorless creature spell, manifest the top card of your library. Go onto the battlefield face down as a 2/2 creature, turn it face up anytime for its mana cost if it's a creature card. Whenever you attack with creatures with total power 6 or greater, you may turn a face-down creature you control face up. That's interesting. So we're going to have Disguise, Manifest, and potentially Morph creatures all in the same deck. That would be interesting to track. Austere Command, 4 white for a sorcery with choose 2, destroy all artifacts, all enchantments, all creatures with mana value 3 or less, or all creatures with mana value 4 or greater. So, little board wipe. Dusk to Dawn. Dusk is 2 white for a sorcery, destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater. And then Dawn is 3 white for a sorcery with Aftermath. You can only cast it from your graveyard, and you exile it. Return all creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. Exalted Angel. This is one of the OG morph bombs. But 4 white for a 4/5 creature angel with flying. When it deals damage, you gain that much life. So it's not exactly lifelink, and if you're able to give this lifelink, it triggers twice. And morph 2 white. Let's see if we can even up that text a little bit. Fell the Mighty, 4 and a white, sorcery, destroy all creatures with power greater than target creature's power. Nice. Hidden Dragon Slayer. This was awesome with Megamorph back in the Cons of Tarkir block. But Hidden Dragon Slayer, 1 and a white for 2/1 human warrior with lifelink. Megamorph, 2 and a white. You morph it like a normal creature. When you turn it face up for its Megamorph cost, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. When it's turned face up, destroy target creature with power 4 or greater and opponent controls. Very nice. Master of Pearls, 1 and a white for a 2/2 human monk with morph 3 white. When it's turned face up, creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. Mastery of the Unseen. This was a fantastic card for control decks to just power through the mid to late game. But 1 and a white enchantment. Whenever a permanent you control is turned face up, you gain 1 life for each creature you control. And then 3 and a white, manifest the top card of your library. Mirror Entity, 2 and a white for a 1/1 shapeshifter with Changeling. X, until end of turn, creatures you control have base power and toughness XX and gain all creature types. Very nice. Welcoming Vampire. This is currently legal in Standard, but doesn't see a whole lot of play anymore. 2 and a white for 2/3 creature vampire with flying. Whenever one or more other creatures with power 2 or less enter the battlefield under your control, draw a card. This ability only triggers once each turn. So that would also trigger off of Manifest and a number of other things. Chroma, Angel of Fury. My favorite, quite possibly my favorite Chroma. It's kind of a toss-up between Fury and Wrath. But 5 red, red, red for a 6/6 legendary angel. Can't be countered. It has flying, trample, protection from white, and blue. For red, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn, and it has morph 3 white or 3 red, red, red. Ashcloud Phoenix, 2 red, red for a 4/1 Phoenix with flying. When it dies, return it to the battlefield face down under your control. Morph 4 red, red. And when it's turned face up, it deals 2 damage to each player. Chaos Warp. A little worse with the updates to how commanders interact with zone changes. But for 2 and a red instant, the owner of target permanent shuffles it into their library, then reveals the top card of their library. If it's permanent, they may put it onto the battlefield. Imperial Hellkite. 5 red, red for a 6/6 dragon with flying. Morph 6 red, red. When it's turned face up, you may search your library for a dragon card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle. Jessica's Will. Ooh, this is a good one. This sees a lot of play in Legacy Storm, generally the Epic Storm variants. Pretty sure it's the Epic Storm. Might just be Ruby Storm, but 2 and a red sorcery, choose one. If you control a commander, you cast a spell. You may choose both. Add red for each card in target opponent's hand. Exile the top 3 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. So, really nice. Neheb the Eternal. 3 red, red for a 4/6 legendary zombie minotaur warrior with afflict 3. Whenever it becomes blocked, defending player loses 3 life. At the beginning of your post-combat main phase, add red for each 1 life your opponents have lost this turn. That is a great enabler. Be a huge mana boost, too. Scourge of the Throne. 4 red, red for a 5/5 dragon with flying and dethrone. Whenever this creature attacks the player with the most life or tied for the most life, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Whenever it attacks for the first time each turn, if it's attacked a player with the most life or tied for the most life, untap all attacking creatures. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. Beast Whisperer. 2 green, green for a 2/3 elf druid. Whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card. Deathmist Raptor. Another great one from Tarkir block with Megamorph, but 1 green, green for a 3/3 dinosaur beast with Death Touch. Whenever a permanent you control is turned face up, you may return Deathmist Raptor from the graveyard to the battlefield face up or face down. Megamorph, 4 and a green. This card was the business back then. As was the next one, Den Protector. 1 and a green for a 2/1 human warrior. Creatures with power less than Den Protectors can't block it. Then Megamorph 1 and a green. When it's turned face up, return target card from your graveyard to your hand. So, definitely a great one. You generally just chain Den Protectors and Deathmist Raptors. So, Deathmist Raptors would go to the graveyard, you play a Den Protector, flip the Den Protector, get another Den Protector back to your hand. All your Raptors come back. It was crazy. It was a good time. X green green or Hooded Hydra. X green green for a 0/0 Snake Hydra. Enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. When it dies, create a 1/1 Snake creature token for each +1/+1 counter on it. Morph 3 green green. When it's turned face up, put 5 +1/+1 counters on it. Krosan Cloud Scraper. This was a hilarious card back in Legions. There's so many ways to cheat it out. But 7 green 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 for a 13/13 Beast Mutant. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Crescent Cloud Scraper unless you pay green. Morph 7 green. Crescent Colossus 6 green for a 9/9 beast with morph 6 green. That was the face of one of the sets. I think it was one of the face cards for Onslaught. Skewering Aether. For green, you get an enchantment. Face down creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. When in a green, turn Obscuring Aether face down. Huh. That's a fun one. Orin Frostfang. 3 green for a 2/6. No creature, snake. Attacking creatures you control have Death Touch. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Which is very similar to Orin Viper. It's a fantastic card out of Cold Snap. Return to the Wild Speaker. 4 and a green, instant. Choose one. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among non-human creatures you control, or non-human creatures you control get +3/+3 until end of turn. Root Elemental. 4 green for a 6/5 elemental with morph 5 green. Its turn face up, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Nice. Seriath the Viper's Fang, 2 green for a 3/4 legendary human warlock. I think this is also still in standard. I believe this was in Midnight Hunt. Other tapped creatures you control have Death Touch. Other untapped creatures you control have Hexproof. 1, tap, untap another target creature or land you control. Seedborn Muse. That is a great reprint. 3 green for a 2/4 spirit. Untap all permanents you control during each other player's untap step. For some reason, I thought this was banned in Commander, so I don't know. Felonite Hermit. 3 and a green for a 1/1 elf shaman. All saplings get +1/+1. Morph 3 green. Whenever it's turn face up, create 4 1/1 green sapling creature tokens. This was in Time Spiral, if I remember correctly. Temur War Shaman. 4 green for a 4/3 human shaman. When it enters the battlefield, manifest the top card of your library. Whenever a permanent you control is turned face up, if it's a creature, you may have it fight target creature you don't control. Husky, Bearer of Secrets. This is from Ikoria. 3 and a green for a 1/1 legendary squirrel. It can't be countered, indestructible, it attacks each combat of Fable, and whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Keep in mind that draw is not optional. Trail of Mastery. Or Mystery. Trail of Mystery. 1 in a green, enchantment. Whenever a face-down creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle. Whenever a permanent you control is turned face up, if it's a creature, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Whisperwood Elemental. This was in Vintage Cube for quite a while. I'm not sure if it's still there or not. At 3 green for a 4/4 elemental. At the beginning of your end step, manifest the top card of your library. Sacrifice it until end of turn. Face up non-token creatures you control gain. When this creature dies, manifest the top card of your library. So a great way to have your creatures replace themselves. Eudora Gravegardener. 4 and a green for a 5/5 legendary treefolk druid. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may return it to the battlefield face down under its owner's control. It's a forest land. Huh. It has no other types or abilities. That's neat. Decimate. 2 green for sorcery. Destroy target artifact, target creature, target enchantment, and target land. Can't cast a spell unless you have legal targets or choices for all of its targets. I'm glad they added that reminder text, because I have had so many judge calls over the years on cards like Decimate. Sidar Kondo of Jamura. 2 green for 2/5 legendary human knight with flanking. Whenever a creature without flanking blocks this creature, the blocking creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Creatures your opponents control without flying or reach can't block creatures with power 2 or less. Partner. You can have 2 commanders if both have partner. Lifecrafter's Bestiary. This was a good one in, I believe it was either Aether Revolt or Kaladesh. 3-mana artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, scry 1. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you may pay green. If you do, draw a card. Scroll of Fate. 3-mana artifact. Tap, manifest a card from your hand. Canopy Vista. It is the green-white check land, or Tango land. Yeah. Cinderglade, the red-green Tango land. Exotic Orchard taps for your what your opponent's lands can produce. Fortified Village, it's the green-white check land. Fury Calm Snarl, it's the red-white check land. Game Trail, it is the green-red check land. Kessig Wolf Run, it's a great one back in the original Innistrad block. Taps for colorless, and then X red-green, tap, target creature gets +X/+O and gains trample until end of turn. Used to play that alongside Primeval Titan. Mossfire Valley filters for red-green. Mosswort Bridge, the best of the hideaway lands, other than, well, Shelldock Isle may give it a run for its money. Hideaway 4, enters the battlefield taps for a green, and then for a green and tap it, you may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost if creatures you control have total power 10 or greater. Scattered Groves. It's a forest plains, enters tapped, and cycles for 2. Sheltered Thicket. Same, but it's a mountain forest. Shrine of the Forsaken Gods. Tap for a colorless, or tap for 2 colorless, and spend only to cast colorless spells. Activate only if you control 7 or more lands. Sungrass Prairie filters for green-white. Temple of Plenty, the green-white temple, enters tapped, scry 1 when it comes in. Temple of Abandon, same for red-green. Temple of Triumph, same for red-white. Path to Exile, nice. The second best piece of removal ever printed in white. For white, you get an instant. Exile target creature. Its controller may search their library for a basic land, put it into the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Inox Survivalist. 1 in a green for a 2/1 Dog Shaman. Megamorph, 1 in a green. When it's turn face up, destroy target artifact or enchantment and opponent controls. Broodhatch Nantuko. 1 in a green for a 1/1 Insect Druid. Whenever it's dealt damage, you may create that many that many 1/1 green insect creature tokens, and then morph 2 in a green. Nervous Gardener. This is actually from Murders at Karlov Manor. 1 in a green for a 2/2 Dryad with Disguise for a green. When it's turn face up, search your library for a basic land, or no, sorry, not a basic land. A land card with a basic land type. So this can grab triomes and duels. Reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle. Nantuko Vigilante. 3 in a green for a 3/2 Insect Druid Mutant with Morph, 1 in a green. When it's turn face up, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Nature's Lore. Nice. 1 in a green sorcery. Search your library for a forest card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Keep in mind this grabs duels. And triomes. Sakura Tribe Elder, aka Steve. 1 in a green for a 1/1 Snake Shaman. Sacrifice it. Search your library for a basic land card. Put that card on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. When damage on the stack existed, this card was way better than it is now. It's still great. It's just it was way, way better. Salt Road Ambushers. 3 in a green for a 3/3 Dog Warrior. Whenever another permanent you control is turned face up, if it's a creature, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Megamorph, 3 green. Revisits. It's functionally the exact same as Nature's Lore. It's just this is the one that was printed originally in Portal 3 Kingdoms. But 1 in a green sorcery, search your library for a forest, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. This has also been in need of a reprint for several years. Wild Growth. For a green, you get an enchantment aura, enchant land. Whenever enchanted land is tapped for mana, its controller adds an additional green. Arcane Signet taps for your commander's color identity, 2 mana artifact. Soul Ring. We all know what it does. 1 mana artifact that taps for 2. Forest Garrison. It's the red-white Karu. So when it enters the battlefield, comes in tapped. You have to return a land to its owner's hand and taps for 2 mana. Command Tower, land that taps for your commander's color identity. Branch of Vitu-Ghazi. This is actually one of the new ones from Murders at Karlov Manor. Taps for colorless, disguise 3, and when it's turned face up, add 2 mana of any one color until end of turn. You don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. Gruul Turf, red-green Karu. Jungle Shrine. There's a battlefield taps for red, green, or white. Crimson Verge. There's a battlefield taps for colorless, and then 2 tap and sacrifice it. Search your library for a forest and a plains. Put them onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Keep in mind this is the older templating, so you can in fact grab duels with this. Sacred Peaks. It's a mountain plains, enters the battlefield tapped. I believe this is the one from Dominaria United. Selesnya Sanctuary. It's the green-white Karu. Zoetic Cavern. Taps for colorless and has morph 2. This was used with polymorph combo for quite a while. Temple of the False God. It taps for 2 only if you control 5 or more lands. We have our plains. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Split 2 and 2 on the art. Mountains, 1, 2, 3. We have 2 different arts, split 2 and 1. Forests, 1, 2, 3, 4. Split 2 and 2. And then we have our tokens. We have 2 oozes that are a mysterious creature on the back. So good for keeping track of your disguise. We have 2 snakes that are morph on the back. That's good for morph and megamorph. Then we have 4 saprolings that are manifest and morph tokens on the back. That's good. And then 2 insects that are manifest on the back. Very nice. And our phase and format reminder. That's in every commander deck. All right. Well, thank you for joining me on this adventure to Murders of Karlov Manor Commander. This was, again, Deadly Disguise in red, green, white, aka Naya. As always, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff to help us out with the algorithm. It's a really big help and helps the channel grow. And until next time, stay awesome. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.